So James Gunn is getting a brutal reality check after the massive backlash that he didn't even see coming, as fans finally turn on him, the once celebrated DCU director. James Gunn just got hit with the harshest reality check of his career. Now, the numbers have shown that the audiences are just done pretending that his projects still matter. You see, Peacemaker Season 2 exposed how little faith viewers have left in James Gunn, and it's actually becoming clear that Warner Brothers is running out of patience. So for years, James Gunn has sold himself as a guy who could save DC. However, the data proves that trust in James Gunn has completely collapsed. Okay, so it's even worse, when you realize that Peacemaker Season 2 actually started off strong, and the premiere pulled in 22% more viewers than the Season 1 finale. Okay, so this is also coming in from Cosmic Book Wonder, which means people were curious. The audience showed up early. Fans were giving James Gunn the benefit of the doubt. They wanted to believe that the DCU could turn around, but that enthusiasm didn't last. Now, by the time the finale aired, nearly 40% of those viewers had checked out. So that's right there is just people that's simply showing they're losing faith in the guy who's running the show, okay? But what this also shows is simple. James Gunn can't hold momentum. You see, the audience gave him a fair shot. The initial curiosity around Season 2 proved that. But the longer the show went on, the more viewers realized that it wasn't worth their time. You see, every week, the ratings fell further, and by the finale, that early promise was gone. The Peacemaker brand, which once looked like the most promising DC spinoff, has now become another casualty of overhype and creative burnout under the leadership of James Gunn. Now, the real flag right here is that, none of Peacemaker's new episodes made it onto the Nielsen streaming charts. You see, not a single one. Okay, that means the engagement across the board was low. Not just the finale, but even though Warner Brothers Discovery promoted the show like, one of their biggest streaming titles and stuff, the audience didn't care enough to go ahead and keep it in the top ratings. Now, honestly, for a show that was supposed to be a cornerstone of the DCU vision under James Gunn, this is a total embarrassment. Okay, so simply put, James Gunn himself has confirmed that there won't be a Peacemaker Season 3. No renewal, no future plans, just quiet cancellation. Now, he didn't offer a detailed reason, but you don't need to be a Hollywood insider to go ahead and figure that out. Now, if the ratings were strong, Warner Brothers Discovery would have locked James Gunn in for more seasons before the finale even aired. Now, the decision to pull the plug tells you everything. The studio's confidence in James Gunn's leadership is slipping fast, okay? But it's also worth noting that James Gunn himself tried to spin Peacemaker Season 2 as a sequel to his Superman movie. You see, he linked them together as if fans who loved Peacemaker would automatically buy into his vision of Superman. But let's be real, when fans actually drop off this fast, it shows that they're not buying what he's selling. You see, the audience doesn't see, Gunn's vision as cohesive or compelling. They see it as overhyped marketing that doesn't deliver at all. Okay, so yes, this flop doesn't just hurt Peacemaker, but it also damages the credibility of the entire DCU reboot. Now, for over a year, James Gunn has been promising that his leadership would stabilize the DCU after years of chaos, and instead, his Superman movie is reportedly underperforming financially, and now Peacemaker can't hold an audience. You see, these are not, isolated issues. They're symptoms of a deeper problem, okay? So yes, it's true that, James Gunn's Superman what is popular on HBO Max, but at the same time, does that really mean that it will be popular in the long run? Now, James Gunn's creative direction doesn't connect with mainstream fans, all right? But honestly, I mean, let's be real here. If that were the case, I mean, Discovery is already reconsidering just, his role at DC Studios. And that's not just gossip, but it makes perfect sense. Now, the studio has gone through, multiple leadership shakeups before, and executives are watching the numbers closely. You see, if both Superman and Peacemaker fail to move the needle, then keeping James Gunn in charge of the DCU becomes impossible to justify. All right. But what also makes this especially damaging is how Peacemaker, was supposed to actually represent James Gunn's best work. You see, this was the project that made fans believe he could bring humor and heart to the superhero genre again. Now, when season one dropped, it had a fresh tone, irreverent, gritty, and different from the bloated corporate formulas at Marvel. But by season two, the formula caught up with him. The writing from James Gunn actually felt a bit repetitive, the humor was forced, and the creative spark was just gone. The fans saw right through it and they tuned out. Okay. So honestly, I mean, when I watched season one personally, I wasn't really a fan of that though. But the truth is that James Gunn has been stretched too thin. You see, running DC Studios, rewriting Superman, managing PR online, and trying to keep his underdog persona alive, it's too much. You see, you can't run $1 billion franchise and still act like, the edgy outsider. Fans can sense when a creator's heart isn't in it anymore. Peacemaker season 2 is the clearest example yet that Gunn's attention is divided and the product is suffering because of it. All right. But it also doesn't help, James Gunn, that James Gunn's online behavior continues to rub fans the wrong way. You see, he argues with critics, blocks people on social media, and constantly tries to explain his creative decisions in public threads. Okay. So that might have worked, when he was an independent filmmaker. But when you're the face of an entire studio, that behavior just simply looks insecure. It makes it harder for fans to trust the guy leading their favorite heroes. Okay. Now, the decline of Peacemaker, on the other hand, mirrors what's happening to the DCU as a whole. You see, Superman hasn't generated the excitement that Warner Brothers hoped for. And now the TV side is falling apart too. The brand that once relied on big names and bold stories is now being held up by weak comedies and awkward reboots. Now, this was supposed to be the clean slate, the big relaunch under James Gunn's vision, okay? But instead, it looks like a soft reboot built on excuses and short-term hype. Now, DC fans have been told again and again that the next phase will fix everything, but under James Gunn, the same issues remain inconsistent, which includes the tone, awkward writing, and projects that promise world building but deliver little payoff. The decline of Peacemaker proves audiences are not interested in sticking around for another round of studio spin. Now, Warner Brothers Discovery is in financial trouble, juggling debt layoffs and declining streaming performance. You see, they can't afford vanity projects. Peacemaker season 2 was supposed to be one of the bright spots for HBO Max, and instead it flopped. You see, when you're losing nearly 40% of your audience mid-season, that's a warning sign that viewers are not engaged with the platform's biggest titles. And guess what? That puts even more pressure on the big release that's coming from James Gunn. Now, the executives will also use Peacemaker's failure as ammunition when restructuring time comes. Now, if the rumors are true and Warner Brothers Discovery eventually sells off its entertainment division, James Gunn won't survive that transition. Buyers want results, not excuses. A new owner won't care that he directed Guardians of the Galaxy years ago. They'll just care that his current projects are just underperforming. You see, the name of James Gunn no longer guarantees success, but honestly, at the same time, most likely, they might not be able to find a replacement for James Gunn either, you know. But on the other hand, the irony is that, you know, James Gunn once represented the anti-establishment side of Hollywood, but he was the guy who turned obscure characters into household names. But now James Gunn is the establishment. He's the corporate gatekeeper telling fans out there what they should like, and fans are rejecting it. The audience that once rooted for, you know, has moved on because the magic's gone. Peacemaker season 2 proves that he's not the rebellious voice anymore. He's just another studio executive making safe, forgettable content. But at this point, even the DC faithful are asking what's next. You see, Superman is under review, Peacemaker is dead, and the supposed connected universe is losing steam before it even begins. Now, the people who still defend James Gunn are running out of arguments right now. Now, the data doesn't lie either. When fans tune out in large numbers, I mean, let's be real here. It just means that something deeper than bad timing. It means the trust is gone, and that's gone. No studio statement can actually bring it back, okay? So, yeah, Warner Brothers Discovery gambled everything on one man's vision, and now the returns are shrinking. Peacemaker's drop-off isn't, you know, a creative failure, it's a financial one. You see, if James Gunn's Superman movie doesn't overperform to go ahead and compensate for this loss, it could actually trigger the end of his tenure at DC Studios. Now, it's how corporate entertainment works. You see, results or replacement. You see, but either way, the fall of Peacemaker season 2 might be the clearest sign yet that audiences are done being sold empty promises. Fans wanted something bold and honest, not another self-congratulatory show packed with smug humor and surface level, quote, depth. Now, James Gunn has had more freedom than most creators in Hollywood history, and instead of using it to go ahead and restore the faith in DC for the DCU, James Gunn repeated the same mistakes that drove fans away from Marvel. It's basically a creative dead end disguised as progress, okay? But yeah, as Peacemaker fades out and Superman just struggles to go ahead and define itself, one thing becomes clear. The era of James Gunn at DC is not working. The audience has spoken with their remotes, not their words. And when millions of fans stop watching, you can't spin that anymore. Peacemaker was supposed to build excitement for the future, and instead it exposed just how fragile that future really is. I mean, you can say that Peacemaker or even James Gunn's Superman was so good and everything, but at the same time, tell that to the people who either didn't show up because they weren't interested or they just don't care. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Be sure to smash the like button, share the video far wide across social media, subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell for future uploads, notifications, and I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, peace.